We see digital censorship marching on with absolutely no end in sight. And the question I want to raise is, what is the motive behind it? Why are they doing it? On the face of it, they say they're doing it for two reasons. One is to fight against hate. Hate speech is apparently the great threat. And so censorship is intended to, in the words of one social media type, it's a kind of harm control model. That's one of the justifications. And the other is to sort of prevent violence, prevent the eruption of violence, kind of like we saw on January 6th. Now, this was the basis, by the way, of Facebook and the other digital platforms booting off Trump. Recently, Facebook kind of reevaluated the decision and affirmed it. And one of the Facebook board members, this is a guy named Michael McConnell, I'm going to quote him now. He says, President Trump issued statements as a mob was ripping through the Capitol, as members of Congress were cowering in fear. He's probably thinking of that AOC video. She's cowering in fear, even though, frankly, there's no one else in the building except a Capitol police officer there to protect her. He says the president made perfunctory calls for peace, but really he was just egging them on. So even though Trump says, let's march peacefully, Trump's not, he's speaking in a kind of disguised language. He's really signaling to his own supporters, supposedly in a kind of code. Now, why are they so eager to deplatform Trump? Interestingly, NPR, in a recent statement, kind of let the cat out of the bag. And I want to read from NPR here. Being on Facebook is crucial for modern day political campaigns. They say that a big tech blackout means probably a drop in fundraising. And quote, a significant revenue valve would be shut off for Trump, imperiling a 2024 presidential bid if he decides to run again. NPR also says that this could undermine Trump in anything he tries to do in the midterm election next year. So think about this. NPR is basically confessing that digital censorship has not only a political motive, but an election interference motive. They're basically saying, hey, this is great because this guy, the leading figure in the Republican Party, can't mobilize next year. And we're going to keep him we're going to prevent him from having the means to have a real run in 2024. So they know that digital media controls, you may say, the new public square, the way in which people communicate today through technology. And they're saying, why don't we shut off that valve? Very, very telling. But I believe that there's a much larger motive afoot here. It isn't just about Trump. It's really about us. It's about you. It's about me. So let's think about this for a minute. Even though the digital moguls say we're trying to fight hate speech and we're trying to make sure that minorities have a voice, minorities have equal dignity, minorities are respected, they're not terrorized through hate speech, a lot of their censorship has nothing to do with hate speech. It's conservative views. If you have the wrong point of view on COVID, boom, off you go. You have the wrong point of view on this or that, it doesn't really matter. It's very, very arbitrary. Just to take my own case, I got warnings on Facebook for quoting Joe Biden, saying that Antifa is merely an idea. I didn't even comment on the quote. It was right out of Joe Biden's mouth. And they go, this is lacking context, as if there was some other context I was omitting. Another time, I got dinged and kind of cited, a red flare went up, for me pointing out accurately that Kamala Harris is descended in a straight line from one of the largest slave owners in Jamaica. I've supplied genealogical charts. There's all kinds of evidence. Historians who challenged me on this have deleted their tweets and basically admitted I was right. But nevertheless, Facebook takes this action. So I want to make the point here that what they're trying to do in the name of fighting hate speech is deny conservatives and Republicans what you could call our basic right not only to speak, but to have any kind of recognition. Now, recognition is a key part of human dignity. I have here an interesting book by the philosopher Charles Taylor. It's called Multiculturalism and the Politics of Recognition. And Taylor makes the point here that he's talking about these different minority groups, and not just racial groups and ethnic groups, but groups that are fighting for national liberation, groups that are fighting for gender recognition. And he goes, the key issue here is that you want to be recognized for who you are. In fact, a lot of the gay marriage movement is based on the idea that, hey, it's not just that I'm gay and I want to be gay sort of in private. I want some affirmation of who I am in public space. That is part of the necessary campaign for human dignity. And my question is, why doesn't this apply to conservatives? Why doesn't this apply to Republicans? Isn't it a fact that we as conservatives are pressing arguments in the public square? They're well-meaning arguments. They engage all the major issues of our time. And all we're asking for is a chance to engage these issues in debate, to have them contested. We want to have it out over the origins of COVID and see, did it come out of a meat market? Did it come out of a Wuhan lab? We're perfectly willing to go toe-to-toe with the other side. But what's happening is digital media wants to rig the debate. They want to say, no, your side is declared out of bounds before you even get to play. And this is the point. And while they say that they're doing it to keep the white supremacists off the platform, the bottom line of it is, we're not white supremacists. No, who were the white supremacists? The Democrats. The Democrats were the party of white supremacy. They were the party of slavery. They were the party of segregation. They were the party of Jim Crow. They were the party of the Ku Klux Klan. They had the so-called Negro barbecues with black men hanging from trees while they ate hamburgers and passed around the French fries. They did it. So this idea of trying to take the crimes of someone else and sort of foist it onto a bunch of people like me who come traipsing in from India on a scholarship trying to get an education in this country and go, you're the white supremacist, you've got to be kicked off social media. I mean, what could be more preposterous? What could be a more greater distortion and inversion of the facts, a transplantation of response? Well, Dinesh, the two parties, as you know, switched sides. Let's say they did. Let's say the two parties switched sides. It doesn't mean that the crimes of one party get transferred to the other just because the two parties switch sides. It's kind of like a murderer who's saying, I moved across the street and my neighbor across the street moved into my house, so now my crimes go on to him. No, your crimes are still yours. Why? Because you did them. So the simple truth of the matter here is that what the digital moguls are doing is engaging in a massive form of distortion. In the name of fighting information, they're producing information. In the name of promoting debate, they're suppressing debate. And far from affirming the equal dignity of all Americans, they're suppressing the dignity and the drive for recognition on the part of one half of the American population.